Hi there, my name's Elizabeth and I like to sew smart. And today, if you like butterflies, then this project is made for you. I've chosen lovely bright fabrics to bring it all to life, and I'm going to show you today how to make this quilt step by step, and before you know it, you will have a lovely butterfly quilt. And if you like projects like these, to help me keep making them, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe, and have a visit to my Etsy shop where you can see all my patterns. So for this quilt, we're going to make 9 patches, and they're going to measure 13 inches square each patch, but they're going to be different. For this project, you will need some white background fabric. I don't know if you can see, I've chosen a gum nut fabric for that, and my butterfly top wing is cut out of the same one. You will need some scrap fabrics to cut your top wings from, and you will need this really nice bright fabric which really brings the quilt to life. You will need it for 5 of the patches that are going to be center and 1 on each corner, and you will need it for 4 of these butterflies, plus you will also need 5 inches in width for your outside border across the fabric. And for the first step, we're going to use some background fabric. So I've chosen a grey. If you pan in a little bit, you might just see this is a really nice grey. Now sometimes when you put white onto grey you can't see it, but this isn't going directly onto it. So there is my butterfly cut out. The templates are in the pattern, and I'm going to lay the top wings on top of that. And out of the black homespun, which you'll need 2-inch strips for the framing of the 9 patches before you put the border on, I have cut little bodies, and then I will have the antenna, which I will stitch on in black at the finish. So you will have 4 of the grey 13-inch squares, and the white ones will be the center with the coloured border also measuring 13 inches finished. So this is just a plain black butterfly template cut out. I've put a scrap colour on the top. You can use any colours, any design, and I've put the body on top of that, and then it will have the antenna coming out of the top. The templates are in the pattern. All I did was fold a template in half, and you will need Visifix or applique adhesive. You may use another brand, but all I did was put the pattern on the fold, drew around it on the paper side. Of course, I'm keeping that the right side out. On the paper side, cut it out. Did that with both the small wings and the big wings. Templates are in it for both. And then I ended up with those. But how am I going to center them? Well, easy way. I'm going to fold my 13-inch square in half, thumb press it, fold it in half again to make a quarter section, and thumb press it. Just lay that out. So you can see you've got pretty much a definite line. So center it as best as you can. It's about 3 3/4 inches from top to bottom. You can use your ruler. I'm just doing it here by my eyesight. So you'll put that iron one on first, and then you'll iron the top one on that. I'm going to using a zigzag, a very fine zigzag stitch, go all the way around the coloured piece, then around the white piece with white thread, and then I'm going to add the little body and go around that in black. Now you can, I'm keeping the plain background ones, the butterflies, straight. You can, if you choose, have them all slanted or facing different ways, but I've kept all my plain background ones flat. So I'm going to complete 4 of them. I'm going to zigzag all the way around them, or you could use buttonhole stitch, and then I'll come back again when all 4 are completed. I've stitched all 4 on of the 13-inch grey squares. I've used a pale purple thread to go around the wings, purely because I don't want a black or something very dark to detract from all the nice little colours. And then I use the white to go around, as I said, on the inner wing. I haven't put the bodies on. I'm going to do them all in one hit, and I have left the backing paper on. I use baking parchment because it slides really nicely on the machine bed. You can use stabilizer of any kind, of course, but leave it on until you've sewn on the bodies and put the antenna on. So I've done all 4, and I'll now put them to one side, and then I'll show you the next square, which is the next patch, which is the one with the coloured borders. The second patch, there will be 5 of them. I have cut the white background into a 10-inch square, so we've got 5 10-inch squares, and I've folded this one diagonally because all my butterflies are going to be at an angle apart from the very center square. I have also cut 2-inch border fabric for this one, so it's 10 inches by 2 inches, 10 inches by 2 inches for the top and the bottom, and then 13 inches for the side piece, each one. I'm going to stitch that on first using a 1/4 inch seam, and it will end up 13 inches square, just the same as the grey squares. Putting it onto my baking parchment that I like to use, I'm now going to go to the machine and do a black zigzag stitch all the way around the outer wing, and then a yellow one on the inner one. Sometimes I do the inner one first, which I will do today to show you how it stitches on the machine, and then I will leave it for the body to be put on later and the antenna, press them all out, and then I will put them together. I'm using a very tiny zigzag, if you can just see that. Just go to the very edge of your butterfly wing. I'll just come round the edge just a little bit to show you. Keep as close to the edge as you can. I've come round the corner. Just ease it round. That's why I use the baking parchment, because it's very easy to slide. I'll stop it there, and if you just look, it just gives a really nice finish on the edge of the butterfly. I'll go around the black one in exactly the same way. I've stitched using the little zigzag around all of the wings on all my blocks, and I've also ironed on the little body section and stitched that again with a small zigzag round. But now I'm going to show you how to put the antenna on. Now I've done this block so that you can see how it finishes out. It's just a back stitch, and all I've done, which I will show you on this one here, which I haven't cut back this one yet. That one is now 12.5. I haven't cut this one back yet. So I put 2 little dots where I want the antenna to come out of. I measure 1.5 inches up and 1/2 inch in from the outside of the wing, and then all I will do is with my friction pen put an antenna on there. It will iron off when I've done a little back stitch. You can either do it by machine or by hand, just a little back stitch to make the antenna stand out. If you remember, all my blocks started at 13 inches square, and I want to cut them back all of them to 12.5. For that I'm using my 12.5 inch square. So I've lined it up, making sure that I've got equal border on these all the way around, and all I'm going to do is, using my cutter, cut all the way around. I'll turn it around and do the other 2 pieces, and then I will show you how we're going to join them together. So all my squares now have been cut back to 12.5 inches so that they all match all the way down. I'm going to join the horizontal lines first, joining them here, 1/4 inch seam there, press them to the darker side. I'm going to join the center row and then again the top row. The butterflies that are angled are pointing out and you can refer to the picture on the pattern as well as the finished quilt for this. They're going to be pointing out, and we're going to then join the 3 rows together, flipping them over and putting a nice horizontal seam across there, 1/4 inch. And when we've done that, I will show you then how to put the framing on. All 9 patches are nicely sewn together, lovely and bright, isn't it? And now, just a hint, make sure that your corners, the coloured 2 pieces, join really neatly, just across there and across this side on all these squares. That makes a huge difference to your finished quilt. We're now going to put the black frame on, and the strips are cut at 2 inches, and to get the right size I'm going to put the top and the bottom piece on first, but I will need to measure through my quilt 2 different places, so I make sure that I get it very square. So I'm measuring across 2 different places and take that measurement, cut it from the back black strip and sew it on the top and on the bottom first. I've stitched my top and bottom frame on, and mine has worked out exactly right. It is 36.5 inches. Now it will be 36 inches, but I've still got a 1/4 inch seam there and a 1/4 inch seam on the other side that I will add the border to. So aim for 36.5 inches on your top and your bottom frame, and then I'll turn this around. I will measure the sides, and again I'll measure it twice through the quilt and cut a piece of black frame exactly that length for both sides, right and left, and I'll stitch that on next. My quilt top is now 39.5 inches square, and that's because my side pieces measured 39.5, and that's nicely put on now. Now I need to put the border, the final border on. Now I know that my top and my bottom are going to measure 39.5 inches, so I've cut 2 pieces at 39.5 inches long. Now because of that, the side pieces will take a longer piece of fabric, so even a cut across the fabric won't be long enough. So what I'll do is I will join 3 pieces of my border fabric together, and then I will cut them in half, so each side of the border, the long side on the border, will have a join in, but that will make it look much neater. So here's our finished quilt, our quilt top I should say, and it's looking really bright and really cheerful, and I hope that you've enjoyed making it. And next time I'm going to put up a handy hint about joining your seams and making your squares join perfectly together, and there's an easy way to do that, so I hope you'll join me next time and for a new project.